episode number 32 of Smirk Not Work. A very special episode because we have the very first guest on the show today. But first, let me introduce our normal hosts. We have myself, Club Caleb, and as always, I have DJ from Canada and LT from NYC. But our very special guest is none other than professional Halo player Ryanoob. Welcome to the show.
Hey, doing well. How
That's
you
right.
guys doing?
Go all out for our first guest. Ain't no spring chicken, this Ryanoobs fella.
Doing pretty good. This is kind of funny how this whole thing came about too. It was just kind of me saying, "Hey, do you want to come on the show?" And you being very cool and saying, "Yeah, I think I got time for that." So it's very cool that you make time for your fans and those who pay attention to your streams and whatnot. So thank you again for making the time to come on.
Yeah, I always enjoy hanging out. Stuff like this, any interviews, anything really. Just I'm doing nothing all day, so sounds good.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Just get his big plug going right now because we're still working on our fan base right now in the U.S., but we have several thousand Mexicans. We're going to send you to your Twitch channel and your Twitter and all that. So go ahead and let them know where we can find you.
Yeah, my Twitch channel is just twitch.tv/Ryanoob, and my Twitter is @RyanoobHCS. So make sure to go follow on both.
Very nice.
Cool.
Yo, before we get started though, Club Caleb, I gotta say, I did not see that coming. I just thought it was Club. Had no idea that your name was actually Caleb, and I have to say it's beautiful.
It's very funny you say that.
You should ask him what his gamer tag is, actually.
What is your gamer tag?
It's Clubber Ducky. And it was funny because I was actually paid to change it from a friend of mine because he thought it was so funny. But you know what? The funny thing is, most people don't catch on to that. I think I've only had one person ever say, "Oh, wait, you're Caleb." Like they just didn't even say Club; they just said Caleb. So that's pretty funny. Yeah. Well, we should probably introduce kind of your history here. You've been in the Halo scene for quite some time, haven't you?
Yep.
Yeah, all the way since Halo 3. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but yeah, you've been on a number of teams, so it is kind of hard to keep track of everything. I'm surprised at just how rapid all that stuff can move, just in the span of from season to season. And that is one of our questions here is, the team rosters do tend to flip rather rapidly within esports in general. And we were just kind of wondering, is there a big level of difficulty to that, or is it pretty smooth transition from team to team?
It depends, So as you're going up in the ranks, if you're not really a top team, you're just kind of playing together, and but while you're learning, you're still not the best. You don't have default things that you kind of do every game. Um, I'd have to say the most recent team that I was on, Team Panda, we kind of had a feel for each other and we knew exactly what we wanted to do on most maps. So leaving that team and joining my next team, it was kind of difficult, we didn't have that unspoken chemistry. But for the most part, you get that back in just a couple of weeks. So it does take a little bit of time adjusting, but for the most part, everyone kind of settles in pretty nicely.
Okay, yeah, great. So your team you're on now, you were on Most Wanted pretty recently, though, correct?
Yeah, for a couple of weeks.
For a couple of weeks. Yeah, and it's funny because even listening, because I would watch one of your scrims, and yeah, that chemistry didn't seem to quite fit. Like you would say, there's a guy blue too, and then they'd be surprised at when a guy starts shooting at them in blue side. So it is kind of funny how all that works. It's just kind of astonishing to me how professional gamers will flip so often with their squads.
Even mid-season, it seems.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you ever seen the movie Basketball?
No,
I've not seen that.
Okay, they took on this topic quite well. So never mind. Keep going.
How do you feel about the current state of HCS?
The current state of HCS, I mean, I think it's getting better, It's kind of always improving, but at the same time, there's just things that could be done a lot better and a lot faster, and it's just interesting to see it grow, you know. You feel like you could, you know, and I don't know how to put this, but I feel like you could like you know how to run your own league, you know. You could give them so many opinions that it kind of feels like you could run it yourself, but at the same time, you know, there's so many obstacles that must be going on behind the scenes that you can't really say you could run it by yourself. Uh,
Right.
so so it's hard to say, you know, like I think it's improving and it's nice, but uh there should be a lot of other things that just seem to be skipped over and glossed over that just don't get enough attention. Um, so while it's improving, it could definitely be doing better.
What kind of things are being glossed over in your opinion?
So I mean that like just with stuff like maps and settings and game types, you know, it's always hard to get opinions through to 343 and the things that they end up changing on their own. I mean, when they put in
Mm.
stasis, we brought up the idea that one team's going to be heavily favored, and we said, you know, blue team has this pathing that the red team doesn't get, and because of that, it's going to be easier to cap flags. And 343 didn't believe us when we said that. And then what do you know?
Oh shit.
Every red team has to ban out stasis, or else they're playing at a huge disadvantage. So I mean that's just one of the things, as well as like all the weapon changes on maps. We have to like ask why they're happening. You know, they
That's
seem
great.
like pretty normal things that's on maps, and then they're just changed. I mean, I made a post on the forum saying like it just seems like they want to, you know, act like they're patching up gameplay for reasons, but they don't really have the reasons that a normal game would have, like Dota or League of Legends. You know, you nerf a hero because it's overpowered. And Halo, it just we changed something because we wanted to change something.
Oh, for sure. Since the beginning of Halo 5, I can't tell you how many times I've seen weapons change. Like, it's not even a complete weapon set change. It's just, well, we changed this suppressor over here to the Song of Peace for whatever reason. You know, it's, you know, like on the rig, that right there at back rail. It's like, what, you know, and no one ever picks that up. They're still not going to pick that up. You know, as far as I've never seen a professional pick up a suppressor unless it's like do or die.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with you that for some reason they keep changing these random things,
Oddly enough, I
seemingly
think that
random.
Club's favorite iteration of Halo 5 was the beta. It didn't have to change anything from the beta in Club's eyes. Says a
Yeah,
lot.
there are certain things for sure. I did like the Prophet's Bane top mid.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. Although I could see why they changed that out for a fuel rod.
We'll continue with the scene right what it is right now in the Halo 5 competition. I looked through your Twitter account. I remember your name from back in the day. This is why I was so excited you actually showed up. Thank you again, by the way. And we're all jealous of your mic also. You can cut that out, Club, if you need to.
Nope, that's staying in there.
But one thing I got from your Twitter account, and I was really happy to see this because there were a couple postings over time. You don't like crouchers. You hate
No.
crouchers. You think they should be banned. I agree with you in terms of competition play. How has there anything has come from that, from your voicing of your dislike of crouching?
You know, I've tried my best to be as respectful as possible towards 343 and the idea of radar and crouching and stuff. Uh, I started off in season one. We had regular calls with 343, just talking about things, and I always brought up like every other, you know, call. I'd say, hey, can we start testing no radar? Like, when would be the best time to start doing this? And you know, we always got that answer of radio silence instead of an actual
Ouch.
answer. Yeah, like they would just kind of gloss over it, and skip over it, and you know, like they don't want to talk about it because they're probably not at the head. Like we were talking to Tachi, we were talking to, you know, some people like I think Quinn got in one, but he he wanted to talk about the changes that were going on, not changes that we wanted. So it's tough. I made a video about how I liked no radar, and I put in clips to show out what the differences were. You know, I've done a lot of things. I've done as much as I really can without pushing too aggressively. You know, I don't want to be just a thorn in their side or a thorn in anyone's side. I don't want to be like that, go too far to where it's annoying, but at the same time, I want to try and get something started.
You don't worry about that, bud, because we got you covered. Us, our fan base, we got emails coming up the wazoo for these 343 guys. We don't get what's coming to
Yeah.
them. It needs to
Yeah.
happen. It's really annoying.
As long
Should
as
not
they
be
can
played like that.
read Spanish.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Well, the funny thing with the whole no radar thing, the entire premise of this shotgun, right, is to be up close and personal, and the radar is almost like a secondary function to the shotgun, because literally all you have to do with that shotgun is crouch until you see that bright red blip on the radar coming at you, and you don't even have to move. So there are plenty of reasons to get rid of radar, or at least modify it somehow. I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yep.
But what has been? Let's see. I'm sorry. What has been the biggest misconception of esports players, in your opinion?
Whew, that's a good one. So I think in general, and I think this has started to change recently with how popular esports has become, but they were thought of the typical gamer and the typical mindset of nerds and stuff. But as you start to watch VHCS and watch others like games like League of Legends and Dota, you'll start to realize that these are, normal average people. They go to the gym, they go to school, they do whatever, and then at night they just play some Halo and uh, I mean, not just at night, but they just there's so many things that esports players do that's just not just sitting alone waiting like playing esports. So I mean, I think that's like a big misconception that's been worked on. And then I think yeah, and that's from like an open stance, from people who have never watched esports or anything.
Yeah,
So there's
Congratulations on
basically
your
just
engagement, by the way.
Thank you.
so they're
Yeah,
just not a bunch of like Adderall laden teens that are up all night. Basically, is what you're saying.
no, those are the amateur players. The pros,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I see. I would
That's-
think that Adderall and any kind of enhancement, just mentally, would be a huge boost to professionals, and that at least maybe not everybody, but some would abuse that, just like in other sports.
Are there banned
Yeah.
substances right now in esports play?
I mean, I wouldn't say banned. Like, yeah, it's banned, but if you just don't show off with it, then nothing happens really. So, I mean, Lethal kind of like his emo on Twitch is like a little pill because he's kind of a fiend, or at least he doesn't like hide it. He just like kind of makes fun of it. I mean, personally, I don't do anything, and I mean that sounds weird to say because I mean anyone would say that, right? But I've been pretty open about it. I've always said like I don't do it, but I don't mind other people doing it. I don't think it gives that big of a boost, but I understand why. But then you've got people with ADD who like need it, Like I think some players are prescribed Adderall. I'd say like at least 2 to 3 in the pro league right now. They were prescribed Adderall before they even started being a professional gamer. So I don't know. I don't think it's too big of a boost. I think it is, but it's also got its negatives and stuff. So
Definitely.
I would almost think that
You-
having ADD would make you better at playing Halo. There is so much going on. You would almost almost be at a benefit. It seems, just
yeah,
for me personally playing. Like there is a lot going on screen at one time. There is so much information that a professional gamer needs to take in order to be effective. And yeah, I just it is amazing that it's not more rampant within the esports arena, or else that we know of, not just in Halo, but in esports in general.
yeah. I mean, I've heard rumors that it's pretty rampant in other esports. They just do a lot better job at hushing it down and stuff.
That's
But
so bad.
Gears of War
those are
guys
just
shooting
yeah,
up in an alley.
yeah. Those are just rumors, though.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
So how have you seen esports change in the 6-7 years that you've been a professional gamer?
It used to be just a niche thing that wanted to do it, you'd have to be the top of your game, you'd have to just play hard, it used to just be tournaments. It wasn't sponsors, there wasn't orgs or anything, but with the orgs coming out, with sponsors coming out, it's really changed from just being play really hard, be the best that you can be, and you'll make money to, be an open person, be a nice person, try and be an entertaining person, and
And be a brand almost.
yeah, exactly, and a lot more will come for you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it's been as well. You'll see like Roy and Lunchbox getting Team Evil Geniuses as an org. That's a huge org, and uh, Roy and Lunch have been like the staples of the competitive community for a long time, along with Ogre 2 getting CLG right when they came out.
Nice. So you see sort of streaming and stuff as having kind of a big influence on the acceptance of esports as a competitive sport to watch.
What was that again? Sorry.
Sorry.
Zoned out for like half a second.
Yeah,
Missed the
I'm
key
on a
word.
terrible mic right now, and I'm actually like, I have a new mic coming that's on delivery today, and I've been like standing by my door, fucking watching it, hoping it would show up in time. But
No.
but basically, what I was saying is, do you think that streaming has had an effect on the acceptance of esport as a competitive sport to watch?
Sure. That it's definitely helped. Streaming used to be a thing like only a couple of players did in 2010, 2011. I would say like Nocturnal Colonel streamed Halo 3. He was like one of the few people to stream Halo 3. I started streaming Halo Reach with Ninja back in 2011, and I think that really helped blow up the esports scene a little bit, uh, in the Halo community, at least. And then it started because there weren't many converters from the Xbox to the PC. But now that people in Dota and League of Legends and CS:GO started streaming all the time, it's definitely started to bring a lot more fans into the esports because you get to see like the personalities of these players, exactly what we've been talking about, how you create a brand for yourself. You get people who are interested not in the game but in you to watch the game. And so Twitch has just helped so much in that aspect.
I honestly feel like that's one of the biggest things missing from esports is that kind of identification with the individual players. They're trying more and more, don't get me wrong, but man, those guys come out like WWE wrestler. Holy shit. Oh yeah, here we
Oh,
go.
Oh
Ryanoob
yeah.
coming out, look out.
yeah, exactly, and that's what some of the other esports have been doing. If you've watched the Dota championships,
I
and
don't.
yeah, I mean, yes, it's really hard to watch some games that you don't play. I cannot watch League of Legends. I don't
No
play it at
way.
all. But
Yeah.
I watch Dota. I play a lot of Dota, and so I watch these people that I play against, and I watch their streams, and then I watch them walk out on stage into this huge production, and you can just see their individual like mentalities. You get the
Right.
captains who are just stern-faced, and they want to keep their team focused, and then you got the clowns that are just like jumping around, looking everywhere,
Yeah,
hands
club.
raised. Yeah, and then you got the nervous people, man. It's awesome to like watch their personalities and then watch them on the stage at the same time. So
Then you
So
get guys like
what
Frosty who will like teabag guys in game, like in the middle of its finals.
yeah, exactly. He's just trying to put on a show, like trying to be a happy person, and so
yeah.
it's
what
just great.
what would be your entrance song then?
Oh, what would be my
Nice.
entrance song? Ah, that's a tough
That's a
one.
tough one.
That
Yeah,
is.
We
yeah.
could think about that one for a while. We'll come back to that one.
We'll make one.
Yeah.
I think
Oh.
yeah. Maybe just mine would just be like circus music probably.
Oh, there you go.
Big tuba.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so many people scared of clowns in this world. I think that would be quite fitting. They're the team shaking in their boots. Flashback childhood memories. No, I don't
You know,
like clowns.
it's funny. I was watching one of the only other type of game I can watch was like fighting games because you don't really need to have a whole lot of context. It's just they're just fighting each other. It's just the two characters. And I was watching the Street Fighter Championship at PSX, and it was the funniest thing because you'd have the player with this smoke screen around him walking out with his like joysticks or joystick, and it's not like they're there to entertain in that way. They're there to entertain by them playing.
Mhm.
So they're not gonna run out there with their hands in the air, like at least from what I saw, like all pumped up like a WWE wrestler. So it is kind of funny how we're trying to match that with trying to fit that almost stereotype into a professional gaming scenario, whereas we should find our own way of like maybe not just introducing players, but really finding our own like voice within the sporting community.
Can you at least agree that there should be pyro?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
The best tournaments are the ones that have pyro. Oh my God, that just fire just raises any production level.
I think
Without a doubt.
the championship level match should have the most pyro, so their ears are ringing. It's harder to communicate and everything. Oh yeah, we're on
Have
something.
actual battle sounds in the background.
Beautiful. Well, just I want to follow up because I heard you talking about specific characters, and we're kind of on there right now. A quote from you back in April mentioned that
boy.
nated to Optic is a perfect fit. Now, over the months, how has that come to fruition in terms of how you think now?
I said that back in April.
Sure did.
On it.
April. So team that was the other Optic.
Yeah, it was old Optic.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
he was.
I just
yeah.
read the Twitter account one time. I'm trying to sound smart, so you know.
So yeah,
I done did research.
Yeah, so in general, the Optic brand, with the team was Maniac, Flamesword, and then 2 other random people who kind of carried them to their place in the Pro League for a while, and Nated was on that team actually, so that's why I ended up saying that, I think.
Ah, I see.
But yeah, he just got announced, and I said, that's a perfect fit for that roster. Someone who doesn't play too much. I mean, he'll learn things about the game, but he's more of an entertaining fella. So him going to Optic brand is mostly content. I mean, there is some winning on other games like Call of Duty. They are always winning. The Optic brand is always winning. But then you have Counter-Strike where they're kind of like they're a strong team, but they're not all the way up there. But they're always making content. And that's exactly what Nada does on his stream. He averages for like 300 to 500 viewers. He streams for 12 hours a lot of the time. And so I thought going to Optic, that'd be perfect for him, where he can bring in those viewers, those people who would just be interested about him to kind of be interested about everyone else in the scene. So that's why I was extremely happy to see him go there, but then he ended up like doing some weird stuff and leaving before he could leave, and got kicked out for a season, and everything went weird after that.
Anything insulting or disparaging you might want to say so we can get on these forums and gossip and stuff?
I don't know.
No, you wish him luck. You wish him luck.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It is funny, and that makes a lot more sense why the squad that is Optic Halo right now are those guys. Because it's like you said, those guys are entertainers, man. Frosty's teabagging, Lethal's going crazy, saying whatever he wants to say. But you know what? It was awesome that Envious ended up winning the finals. That was probably one of the most entertaining tournaments I've ever seen in esports, because I haven't really been watching that long. But it was incredibly entertaining. And to kind of go back on an earlier point, what's really helped me get into esports is Twitch streaming. It's watching players just play their game, and all of a sudden they're in this giant tournament, and it kind of gives you someone to root for. Mm-hmm. And you're one of those personalities too. It's helping that esports grow just from a gamer to a gamer, because I wasn't interested in esports even though I was a gamer. And the whole Twitch thing really put me off, because I was like, I don't want to watch someone play a game. But after a while, I'm like, wait, some people are actually way better than I am, and I should take a few tips from them. And that snowball effect is incredibly powerful. You stream pretty often, don't you?
Yeah, I've kind of fallen off recently trying to figure out what's going on with team situations. Like I don't want to stream our first couple of games because I want to be focused on the team and trying my best to like perform and just get better together. So like new team situations, as well as the minor league that we play in, the people that host the league, they don't want us streaming during those times. So I have been making content and trying to stream at the same time, but I've been a little bit off lately. I'm gonna start up the reviews that I've been doing every Monday and Wednesday, so that gave me a reason to stream.
Oh, sweet.
I'm gonna be starting that up again in early January, so just like 2 weeks from now. So I'm excited for that.
What will you be reviewing?
Yeah, so I go over both like amateur and pro gameplay submitted to me by by viewers, and it just makes it like so much more fun for me to go over because I get to go over like both the positives from like the really good players as well as the normal players negatives. So it just makes it very entertaining for some players to like they'll learn a lot from one and they'll like see they'll see the bad things that they're probably doing too, but then they see the good things that they need to do, and I get to talk about both of them.
Yeah, they're really good. I've watched a few of them. I mean, it's it's kind of funny because you're right here, but yeah, they are pretty entertaining. It is interesting because I know if I submitted a gameplay, it would be like 3 hours long, and every footstep would be like the worst mistake. Because after watching a couple of those, you get the sense that like every action counts.
Oh, for
You know,
sure.
things that you don't think about. If you're like me and you're just a nobody kind of player, it is insane how many mistakes are made just within microseconds.
Mhm. Yeah, that's one of the things that I try and always talk about is you always have to be conscious about what you're doing and what you need to be doing during the game, and it's just hard to always think that way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, especially for especially for me. Uh, so what has been your favorite Halo to compete in? It's probably a question you get all the time, but you've been in the Halo scene for quite some time now, and you've had success over a lot of the games. And is there one in particular that just kind of stands out to you, or if you could like continue it, that you would, or are you happy with Halo 5 right now?
Oh, I'm extremely, I always I get asked a variance of this question all the time. Which one's your favorite Halo? Which would you choose if you could compete in it? And I'm always happy with the current one that we're playing. Even when we were playing H4, I still, enjoyed playing the game and really just enjoyed playing Halo. Um, so I didn't really like care which one I was playing, but at the same time, if I think my Halo 3 career was kind of short-lived. I ended up going pro in 2010. Only got like two real tournaments that I could go to. If I could go back to that, I think that'd be a lot of fun to compete in again.
Oh, that's why we have the Master Chief Collection.
Don't you? All right, sorry, we gotta edit that one out. It's one of those disrespectful things that personally just really grinds my gears. Rubs me the wrong way. I sold my 360 for the Master Chief Collection, thinking I was gonna get exactly what they said, all four games, as they were back in the day. No Frankenstein monster that we got. No ridiculous. It really pissed me off. I'm really upset that Club brought it up. I apologize, Ryanoob.
Hey man, he had some tournament wins in Halo 2 Anniversary, so
I did. It was a disaster.
it
Like
was a
so, all right.
disaster.
All right, so that was actually so weird from 343 is that uh we go to the first invitational tournament and we're playing on one of their builds that isn't kind of like how they're going to be releasing it. And so they're saying things like so after the game we're going to have to restart the build every single time. So you're going to have to quit out of the game like,
Ugh.
eject the disk and put it back in.
Wow.
And we're like, I guess okay, whatever, just to make sure the game runs smooth. And then we start up Halo 2 Anniversary and we play a custom game. And then after that custom game, we can't play another one. So we like
Oh
they
my
knew
God.
about it before they released the game that it was actually broken and you couldn't really play it consistently. And so that was one of the weird things that caught me off guard. Like it wasn't like an accident that they released it like that. They knew it was like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm telling you, man, I have a whole thesis planned for when I return to college. It's embarrassing.
But you know what? Aside from all the glitches and the bugs, it must have been just a kind of surreal experience to play Halo 2 competitively in a somewhat large scale fashion, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I go into the game and it wasn't a Halo 2 Pro like most of the players coming. You had Ogre 2, you had uh, Roy and Box, exactly what I'm saying. Like they've been playing for a very long time. They've been playing since before Halo 2 came out, and so everyone's predicting them to be like extremely strong. And I come out and win this. Like I got second in that tournament and in the invitational tournament, and then I got first place in the second tournament in the HCS Pro League. And so for me to come out and win those tournaments, even though they're not the exact same as Halo 2, they're pretty much. For
Yeah.
me to come out and win those 2 tournaments was extremely like proving of my worth to me. I always have I don't know if everyone always has problems with it, but I always have problems like, am I really good? Like what is my worth in this game? And so to win like that, really boosted my confidence.
Do you think that there's a distinct difference in Halo compared to other shooters, uh, by way of you have a lot of players who do come from Halo 1 and Halo 2, which released a long time ago. Uh, what do
Not
you think
that
is
long
that?
ago, Clip.
What do you think is the differentiating factor between Halo and some of these other games where you have to be younger to it almost seems like you have to be younger to be able to compete in that in a higher level. But Halo, and I don't mean that as a slam, because you have like Pistola just won the finals, and he's not like a new player to Halo. He's been around too. Same as Snipe Down. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Halo is like one of those interesting games that even though the newer players play more, they grind more, they still don't understand Halo as well as the older players do.
That's
And
right.
Halo's one of those games that you can't you can't learn about all of its aspects, and you can't learn the 4v4 teamwork aspect as quick as you really want to. It takes a lot of time and a lot of tournaments before you come together and actually understand how to win consistently. And so, on one hand, uh, you do get you do get these young players who are extremely, extremely talented at the game, but they just can't beat some of the older players sometimes, and you can't figure out why, even though they seem like better shots, like better positioning, they better movement, but they just can't win because they don't understand on a macro level yet how to actually win the game, and that kind of gets discouraging how they keep losing even though they're playing more and stuff. But it takes time, I couldn't beat some of the players like whenever I first started playing. I couldn't beat those status quos, those believe the hypes and final bosses. But now, but then after a year, I'm on Team Infamous and I'm consistently getting top four, first, second. So it just takes time to get into that position that you really want to get into.
How much of a change would you say uh, the way that 343 and even Bungie in Reach brought in that sort of fourth layer to the guns, grenades, melee aspect of Halo? Do you think that that's changed what the dynamic that you're talking about with the team and being able to work together like that? With all these new abilities and stuff, do you think that that makes it easier for those players to jump in, or do you think it just solidifies the older players as being superior still?
I think it makes it like harder for some players that don't want to play as much. When when you're a top pro, you don't have to grind as much as you used to. So whenever I played Halo 3 and even Halo Reach, I played so much. I put in 10-hour days. Especially in Halo 3 before I became pro, I put in 10-hour days like pretty much every day because I enjoyed playing the game and I enjoyed getting better. But now that we've gotten to Halo 4 and Halo 5 and H2A, I don't find myself playing as much, but I'm still somehow better than these players that are, playing 12 hours a day. You have Scariotic, who is an amateur player that has a terrible attitude, doesn't quite understand how to play 4v4 level, but he's extremely talented. Um, but I don't put in as many hours as him, but I'm constantly beating him in tournaments. So it's just it's weird how you can how that works. So I don't know. It's weird how Halo 4 and Halo 5 have these aspects where you do have a bunch of different buttons that you have to press. So you do have to play more, but at the same time it's I don't know. It's a hard aspect. It's a
Yeah,
hard
you
thing to
still have
judge.
those foundation
Yeah.
skills from the previous
Well,
iterations.
well saved. Well saved.
Yeah, Halo is one of those interesting
Well,
games, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
yeah.
DJ.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, besides Halo, what else do you play to, just to have fun and kind of, game around?
So I was extremely talented. Let's start with my first extremely talented game that wasn't Halo, StarCraft. I was,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
I was top masters. I was streaming. I was having a lot of fun. In that game, I ended up beating some players that were considered pro, maybe even still considered pro right now, like Root Cats, one of the more popular ones. I beat him while he was streaming. Uh, I was really high up there, and so that was a good time in my life. I really enjoyed grinding that game whenever I wasn't playing Halo. Other than that, I played Dota, like I said. I've gotten to 6K a couple of times, which 6K MMR is like ready to be pro. It's kind of like, a level 50 in Halo. You're ready to be on that level, but you need to still work to find a team and work with that team to break in. So I think I got really good at that. I played a little bit of Counter-Strike, H1Z1, Overwatch, Hearthstone, all those little
Oh
games.
wow.
Yeah, so I've dabbled in a lot of things. FIFA as well. I'm a pretty big fan of FIFA.
I see you streaming that every once in a while.
Yeah.
Has
And
everything morphed into the competitive field with these games, or is there literally something you play on, like, oh, I want to get a match on here. I just want to have a quick soccer game, or is it like, I better get that 3-0 shutout or something?
it's mostly just win or lose for me. It's not like I want to beat him bad or I want to be perfect. It's let's just see if I can win while having fun. And so that's how FIFA is. Like, can I win these? I want to win these games. I want to go up to the best division possible. I go into Overwatch and I'm like, is platinum good? Am I like I'm in platinum right now? I'm like, is that good? Probably not for me, right? Like I want to be masters. I want to be diamond. Whatever else ranking systems there are in that. And I haven't played much of that game, but I feel like I'm good enough already, just team understanding and stuff like that. So I go into these games and I always want to win, but at the same time I want to have fun while winning. So I don't want to just like do broken stuff. Like whenever I play Dota, I don't play the most broken heroes. I'll like hit the random button, which is extremely like thought down upon. Like I don't
Mm.
know. I don't want to pick my hero. I just want to have fun, but at the same time win. So it's a
That's
hard.
where it gets tough for me, because I've been playing since Halo 1, day one since it came out, and I'm still a piece of garbage in the game. So I have fun, and I try not to get upset if I've been playing so long and I still get my ass whooped. It's really tough. Do you even remember a time where you were just down in the dumps, where you was like, oh, I just lost that 50-49, or I got smashed and I shouldn't have been smashed, and you were just down? Do you remember a time like that? Has it ever happened?
I would say the times that would happen was when I used to play with my cousins and they would beat me every time. Every time.
Huh.
Like uh so at the beginning of Halo 3 and I played Halo 1 and Halo 2, I played LAN in Halo 1. I mean I wouldn't play like the typical competitive LAN that you would think about where you play 2v2 and you're extremely talented. I played where you play like Blood Gulch and Sidewinder and just like have fun, but I
Yeah.
would still get
Nice.
destroyed. And then Halo 2 comes along, and my cousins are like who I've been playing with are much better than me. Like, they played the first day it went out, and I didn't even play. I just watched them play, and I was so fascinated by watching them play. I was just as entertained as them. And going into Halo 3, I played 2v2s on game battles with my cousin, and I would say we were about the same skill level then. But then he stopped playing, and I think we were number one on the ladder for a while. So he went to a couple of MLG events with me, but I think he could have been in the same position as I was, but he just kind of stopped. He's in engineering school now, so he's
Ah,
doing well, but
gave up
yeah.
Halo for math. Good for him.
So
I
yeah,
imagine the cousins gave you the name Ryanooob, and you just stuck with it.
no, actually, I
Ooh.
wish they did. So my gamer tag was a really good noob. I mean, first it was soccer Ryan because I was a soccer boy growing up. And then it was a really good noob. I actually created that as kind of like what's it called? Is it an oxymoron? I don't know, some
Yeah.
word like that.
Contradictory. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where
I'll say.
I was good, but I was still like fucking. I was like 12 years old, 13 years old, and so
I had the same tactic. Mine was I am noob, so therefore they kill me, sucks for them because they just killed a noob. I kill them, sucks for them because they just got beat by a noob. Beautiful.
yeah. And then in 2009-ish, 2000 no 2010, Jay Milwaukee, one of my teammates of the team that I first broke into the the pro area. Top 16 was pro in Halo 3, and we got a top 16 placing with my with this team, and he's like, so my name was Tokyo Noob at the time because I was on Team Tokyo, and then I left that team. Joined his team, and he's like, "Well, your name's Ryan, and your gamer tag's Noob, so mix it together like that. You create the gamer tag Ryanoobs." And he was an awesome guy, and that I don't know, I kept that for all this time, and I always give him props because that's just such a great idea that I would never come up with.
That's right, the legend was born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like from Halo 1 and Halo 2 was when you were getting smashed. That's a long time from feeling bad to getting smashed. It sounds like you might have even been more broken up from your hacked Domino's account earlier this year.
Yeah, I've gotten hacked a decent amount, but yeah, getting my Domino's account hacked, man, that was rough. My one free pizza was gone.
Some pretty lame shit, man. Some asshole out there. He's probably 10 years old. I got a free pizza from Ryanoob.
Dude, that was, I called up the pizza place that they ordered from too, because I got an email still from it, and I was like, don't accept this. It's not him. Like, please, this is so rude.
You know I never get extra cheese. Don't do it.
Like, I'm in Florida right now. Like, this guy's in Georgia. Like, come
Oh, shit.
on. Yeah.
You know, it almost seems like just certain people have an X factor to where they can be good at any game. And you seem like you're one of those people because you're flipping from two very different kind of games, right? Like Halo's a first person shooter with very specific mechanics to like StarCraft, which is like the opposite of that. Like what is that X factor? I don't understand that. Is it just an ability to absorb information quickly? Because that's what it seems to be for me.
Yeah, it's the idea that you always want to continue to improve yourself. I mean, not of course emotionally or like anything in the real life, but always in games. So I sit here and I have trouble completing one task, one chore in my house during the day. I'm sitting here for 6 hour days. Oh, come on, please. Like, I gotta do laundry. Come on, Ryan, you can do it. But but no, in games, like I always think I could have done this better. So let's get better at this. Like next game, I'm gonna focus on this, and I always think about it in ways like that. But at the same time, I always grind. The games that I really want to be good at. So whenever I played FIFA all the time and got better, I got to rank 1 or the seasons, I don't know, League 1 or something. Um, and I don't know if that's good or not. I mean, I still don't know if that's good.
No,
But
dude, I wish I had that kind of conviction. That's good, man. You stick
Yeah.
to your guns, you get better, and I get smashed. I have some delicious chocolate chip cookies. I know you know about that. Mr. Ryanoob.
Yes, I do. I have those days as well. But yeah, like I always just continue to try and get better, and uh, I don't know. Some people I've met through Halo just have that same capability where they've come from a life of constantly playing sports and always trying to get better at that sport. I started playing soccer when I was 3, and I was the best in my town at like soccer. My cousin and I, and my close friends. So we would play against other people and always try our best
Nice.
and continue getting better. And that translated to Halo and to StarCraft and all these other games. So most of the people that I meet, they're the same way. They started off competitive young, and they worked it into video games as well.
So this was actual teams, like a league, a soccer league when you were a kid?
Yeah, I played I think like 2 competitive years between like 10 and 15. I was starting varsity my freshman year for soccer. So yeah, I don't know. I was good. My town wasn't. We got smashed.
Did
But
you ever have a parent from the opposing team's players come out to the field and rush you because you were just kicking their ass and they got locked up? And there's a YouTube video of it.
No, we
Think we have a
never.
link.
Damn it.
Nah, we never beat people that bad.
That would have been great.
LT, didn't you have? You said you had some goofy questions that we can start getting down to a kind of a lighter note here. Were those ones that you had asked?
Well, there's one interesting thing I saw, again, from my extensive research of your Twitter account. You mentioned earlier this year you were quote-unquote stuck in Miami. Now, I had the opportunity to visit Miami recently. Very sensual city. This was obviously a time pre-engagement. Were you really stuck in Miami? Or were you just like, you know what, a couple more hours on South Beach will do just right about now?
I usually mean stuck in Miami. Oh, so
Hmm.
so thinking about this, it was actually earlier this year, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so earlier this year, I went to Costa Rica. And so we
Oh.
flew, yeah, Danielle and I, my fiance, we flew through Miami to Costa Rica and then Costa Rica to Miami back to Tampa. And yeah, we were stuck in the airport, not in the actual city. So it was,
Oh,
yeah, we were
bummer.
actually stuck in the airport, sitting there, we something happened with our flight, I believe. And
Yeah, that's not
so,
nearly as fun.
oh no, not nearly. I have been stuck in Miami, and like in the city because I went to a tournament before, and it was just a terrible, terrible disaster. Um, like it ended up being a 1 day tournament, and then we didn't plan on staying a second, like overnight, and then driving back to Tampa in the morning, but we just did, and so that was a disaster because I didn't really know my teammates back then, that because I didn't really know the locals, so it
Awkward.
was yeah it was really weird, and I did get stuck in Miami once, and it was not fun.
All right, that
I'm one of those good kids that just does not do anything weird. Like I don't do anything fun. I barely drink alcohol. Um, so
That's right.
when people say, "Oh, you're going to Vegas," like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit in my hotel room and I'll walk down the strip or something to see all the lights and stuff, but I won't uh do anything that normal people would do.
See, I think Club might want to follow up on that because
Yeah.
didn't you want to get a little more in depth on the nerd aspect of Ryanoob?
But before I ask that, I wouldn't really feel too bad about that, Rhino, because LT barely drinks alcohol and he still gets wasted.
Maybe.
But anyway,
The one beer that I do have is really tall. And the
really,
shot that I do have to go with that one beer to get me wasted is another tall shot glass. I think it evens out. I
a
might be
tall Mike's
6'2",
Hard doesn't
230,
count.
but hey, there's some 5% volume going on with those Mike's Hard Lemonade. Fuck around.
Oh, man. So yeah, I have one final question for you, then we can move on to just a lighter topic here. I was kind of confused because I saw there's a profile done on you on Esportspedia, and it said that you have a self-proclaimed nerdy play style, and I'm just curious as to what that means. Does that just mean like analytical or?
Nerdy play style. Oh, that's different. Huh.
Yeah, I was just a little confused about that, or if they were wrong on that.
So that's come from a lot of different people. I've kind of embraced it as a person. I used to hate being called like little nicknames like that, but through the Halo community, it's kind of become like a good thing rather than a bad thing. And I'm sure it's a good thing now, being a nerd. But back in 2010, when I started earning this kind of name, it wasn't really. So in 2010 is when I first became pro. It's thought of a nerd because I would do things that no one else would do. I'd make jumps that no one else could make. And you think about Halo 3, like, what jumps can you make that normal people wouldn't be able to make? Well, I found some. I found
Wait.
some weird ones.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone remembers, there's the wings on Truth or what midship.
Yeah.
Heretic in that game. There's wings. You could jump from the pink side of your base, like and there's a little lip that you had to, practice jumping on, but you could jump on this lip and then jump on the wing and then jump to top middle. So right at the beginning of the game, I'm top middle, and no one's ever seen that before. So I don't know. I started off in that. 2011 Halo Reach. I ended up being on a video from Snipedown. I was teaming with Snipedown then, and I ended up suiciding on Nexus King of the Hill to spawn behind the opposing team because it was a really hard map to break setup on. There's a lot of choke points. So if I could spawn behind the other team, that would make them shift their focus. They'd stop watching the choke points, start trying to kill me. And so I suicided for better spawns on stream. And one of the old pro players, Best Man, ended up recording it off his stream. And I think it's got like 75,000 views now on YouTube. But
Wow.
basically, I was called a nerd by Snipedown because it ended up working. We ended up killing all of them, and then we retook. And so they're like, "The fuck, you're such a
That is
nerd."
badass.
Yeah, and then that, along with talking about the macro of games, not talking about just simple mechanics of the game, but I'll try and always talk about team decisions and how to,
Bigger picture.
yeah, exactly, bigger picture. With doing these reviews and going over, I'd go over film by myself, like on stream. I wouldn't really make a big deal about it, but I'd just look at things and try and talk about them. And so for those reasons, I've been called a nerd, and I've kind of embraced it.
Do
Well,
you
that's
do
actually
any gameplay tutoring by any chance?
Tutoring?
Yes. Would you like an apprentice?
Is this personal or
No,
He's
just
just
no?
being him.
just
No?
curious.
All right.
Just want to know.
So I've always been iffy about taking on this, like taking on people and just tutoring them specifically. Most of the people that come and ask for tutor help are people that just kind of need to play the game more. Like they're not playing as much as the other people who are in the same position as them, so they're not improving as fast. Me helping them, I mean, that might be able to help more, but it's not worth the time and effort to help them. So
Let's say you have a class of 30 people who love and want to get better, and you know they're just not going to play enough, so it doesn't even matter. You could charge a hefty amount though.
yeah, and people do come to me and say, "Hey, how much for you to, like, play games and help me
Yeah.
with this?" And I always say, I don't think that I'd be able to help you enough to
Holy shit.
yeah, and I don't mean this in a bad way.
No,
I
I
just
would totally take that as a bad way. I'd be like, oh, I'm never gonna be good.
yes.
That's great.
Yeah, so how I always try and put it is, I don't think I'd be able to help you enough for the money that I'm gonna end up charging you, because I don't enjoy doing it.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Oh wow.
Yeah, but speaking of nerdy things, let's kind of conclude this with something that just came out. Star Wars Rogue One. Have you seen it?
Oh no, I have not. I went to the movies to see it, and oh my God, it was a disaster actually. So I went to the movies, and it was on Friday night actually, and I went with my fiance and her little sister, and we had the choice between Doctor Strange and Star Wars. And so I'm sitting there and I say, "All right, we can pick between these two." And she says, "You couldn't pay me to see Star Wars."
Oh no.
Your fiance
And
or little sister?
no, little sister.
Okay.
And so
Close one.
I started getting a little upset,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. So yeah, that's what ended up happening. And I,
I would have
know,
pulled
we
her
were-
aside. Like, listen, little one, you say something like that again, I will not marry your older sister. She will be devastated. You shut your face. You're gonna like Star Wars. No.
yeah, so I wanted to watch it, ended up seeing Doctor Strange, and it was, Doctor Strange was pretty good.
Yeah.
So
I like that movie.
I didn't mind.
Yeah, I mean, LT doesn't like that movie, but
It was okay. It was entertaining. It was middle of the road Marvel entertainment, which I don't despise, but I also don't love. It was right there. I'm okay with it.
It's an origin story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can get better than Iron Man as an origin story right now. Like, Marvel did that so well. It's kind of hard to beat that. So I definitely see what you're saying.
Play.
But let's. I do want to stick on Star Wars, since you did mention that you do like Star Wars. Let's put a ranking on it, because I feel like if you call yourself a nerd, you have to have a ranking in mind of your favorite Star Wars movies, and we'll just end it at that.
All right. So I know there's always the shit about how the first one's terrible. Not the first one, as in the fourth one, but the first one. Episode 1's terrible, and episode 2 is kind of bad as well. So I grew up on the episodes 4, 5, and 6. We had a VHS collection of them. So I was 5 years old, and I'm watching these videos and the Battle of Hoth all the time. But I went back and watched them with my fiance, and they're watching these, and like they're good, like they're made in 1970 something, and I'm watching these, and I'm watching Yoda, like his head's not right. And so I'm sitting there thinking, like, episode 3, that's probably one of the more entertaining ones. So I don't know. I think episode 3, episode 1, while it had its entertaining parts, episode 1 is pretty bad. So I'd say episode 1's the worst. Probably 5. Again, while they're good macro, as we've been talking about, like there's a lot of little things that just kind of like bug me in these older versions of movies. So I don't know. All right,
Name
let's
8 things.
uh, 8 things.
He's kidding. He's just like that.
I love Star Wars. Forgive
Those,
me.
those turrets that are missing, man. I don't think they should be missing.
They were pieces of shit. Now I think about it. Stupid turrets.
All right, well, Sir Ryanooob, it has been amazing having you on. Thank you again for talking with us, answering questions at this very amateur interview. Wish you the best of luck in your next tournaments. Is there anything else that you wanted to plug before we stop recording here?
The YouTube actually, youtube.com/reallygoodnoob. That's I don't know why I haven't changed that. I don't know if I even can. But the YouTube videos that I've been making, I've been putting a lot of effort in. It's something that's really hard for me to put a lot of effort into because I I don't like sitting there and thinking of things that I should talk about. I just kind of talk all the time. And exactly what we've been doing here, I really enjoy stuff like this. This is a lot of fun.
Oh, for
And
sure.
so YouTube has been something really tough for me to do, but I think I've been putting out a lot of good content, whether it's stuff for the community like caster feedback, personal things that I do, like how to run the flag better on certain maps, vlogs about my competitive career or tournaments that I'm going to, or discussions like we talked about the no radar. I think I've been putting a lot of work in. The new reviews are coming out at the beginning of January, so if you want to get better at Halo, go watch those. That's going to be a lot of fun for me to do. So
Great.
those things, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll
I
probably end
definitely
up
need help with my Halo, so
the three of us here do that is for sure. Well, once again,
I'm
thank
the
you.
weakest link.
That's true. I do know that. I can
Yeah.
safely say I'm better than him, and that's about it.
Yeah, but that's like, I don't know, saying you're better than a baby at like saying words.
Whatever.
For
You can be better at Rainbow than me. That's fine. Well, once again, thank you, Ryanoob, for coming on. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Thank you for inviting me. It has been a lot of fun.